Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Salt and Burn This Supernatural Rewatch podcast. I'm Sammy.
I'm Valerie.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you today, Valerie?
I'm pretty good, actually. It's
Fantastic.
a it's a good day to do a podcast. Just like to point out, I'm now broadcasting from my closet. Just you know, for the comfort of everybody involved in
Right,
this, I am now in my closet.
right. Okay, I don't really have like a pre-show thing to talk about today because nothing has happened. It's freezing here,
I was gonna say
so there's
you look
that.
pretty bundled up
I'm totally
there.
bundled up. I mean, it's now 27 degrees, but earlier today it was 18 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
Uh, I also have like these big woolen high heat
Those
socks.
are some
N-
woolly
They are
socks.
so warm.
Oh man.
A Christmas gift from my parents. They're supposedly pun not intended hot item, but they're they're like high heat socks and they're supposed to keep your feet
Like
like at a, 90 degrees or something like that. I don't know.
they're just socks? They're not like electric
Hmm,
socks?
they're not electric socks, but they are more than just regular socks,
I see.
I feel. They have definitely kept my feet very, very toasty.
More than just socks.
They are more than just socks.
That's
So,
awesome.
you could sponsor us if you want. High heat socks. Wouldn't be mad about that. Okay, well, since all I have to do is talk about socks, let's go ahead and get into this episode.
Are there any socks in this episode? I don't think so.
No, there's a lot of blood though.
Shocking,
Yeah.
considering that the name of this episode is
Bloody
Bloody Mary.
Mary. All right, so let's get into it. All right, so episode 5 of season 1, Bloody Mary.
Bloody Mary. Uh-oh, said it twice already.
Bloody Mary.
Oh!
And that's
Three
actually the
times.
first 3 lines of the description. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. An incantation uttered during a game of truth or dare unleashes a ghoul who lives in mirrors and kills by gouging out the eyes of her prey. This was directed by Peter Ellis. The story was by Eric Kripke, and the teleplay was by Ron Milbauer and Terry Hughes Burton. So the same pair who did Wendigo.
Oh, very cool. So, do you even want to start since this is the first like ghost story that is actually like from everybody's childhood? Like,
Right.
I don't know anybody who has not been traumatized at a slumber party or Halloween party by this story.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever even actually done it. Meaning I don't think that I've ever had the balls to actually do it.
I never did.
No.
I may have been escorted to the bathroom with a
Right.
candle, but I guarantee you I never uttered those words. Never, ever. Either I was too afraid or I was like, why open yourself up to that?
Right. Right.
Why take the chance?
Yeah. It's maybe one of the very few superstitions that have actually stuck with me or that I did uh, fall for, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's just like, meh, like I've done Ouija boards before and they don't really creep me out that much. But Bloody
They creep me
Mary,
out.
I couldn't do it.
Yep. No, see, you are a smart girl. I don't blame you one bit. I was the exact same way. And what's funny is, this episode opens up with girls playing Truth or Dare. Like they're at a
Yeah.
slumber party and there are these young girls playing Truth or Dare. Now here's the thing with Truth or Dare. Never say dare. Never say dare. Never answer the question Truth or Dare with the word dare.
Well, I don't know. Truth could be just as,
Truth, you can laugh and shrug it off like, oh well, now
I
they
don't know.
know. Well, at least this way, okay, I'll rephrase. If you don't do dare, the chances of you having to go into a closet or a bathroom and potentially summon a demon are greatly reduced.
Right. Right.
That's so there's that.
I don't really like either half of Truth or Dare. So,
So as a whole,
yeah, not I don't like. Now for you, for Bloody Mary, Was it this? Was it going into a mirror and saying it 3 times? Or was it different? Was it
N
5 times? Was it spinning around? Was it with a
there was no s
candle?
It was with a candle, there was
Mhm.
no spinning, it just had to be dark in the bathroom. There had to be a mirror. It couldn't be like the bedroom, you had to go into the
Yeah.
bathroom with a candle, and it had to be dark. I don't recall that it was she would kill you, like, she would come out of the mirror and kill you or gouge your eyes out. I don't recall that, I just remember that you would summon her.
Right.
And that was never a good thing.
Right.
You know, you were supposed to be able to see her in the mirror.
Yeah.
I don't recall what the end results would be had you actually summoned her. So
Yeah,
the
I
whole
can't remember that either in my own personal experience with this, like, urban legend.
Mhm,
I can't even remember if it was you say it 3 times or if you say it 5 times.
right. Are we confusing it with Beetlejuice?
No, I mean, well, in this episode, they say 3 times, but then when I was doing, like, where my research for this episode of, like, where it came from, a
Mhm.
lot of sources said that the name is said 13 times.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It does make sense, but
It makes sense, but that I don't recall that.
right.
From my youth, it was 3 times. I
Yeah, it
think
was
it's
yeah.
just your attention span,
Right.
for scary things,
Yeah.
you
I
know?
also don't remember, kind of like you, like, what the end result was. I know that you would summon her, but I
Mhm.
feel like it was scarier, at least how it was told to me. And in some of the accounts that I was reading, it was like she would scratch your face would turn bloody, or she would haunt your house
Oh.
forever, or you would turn into her every time you look
Oh.
into the mirror. And I can't like, a couple of them resonated with me, like, that kind of sounds familiar, but maybe it's just my imagination
Right.
playing
You're like, "It
tricks on
sounds good to
me.
me,"
Yes,
right?
it's all
Def
scary, and I still don't wanna do
Yes.
it.
Especially yeah, yeah, exactly. That and knowing that your friends are on the other side of the door, expecting you
Yeah,
to
like
do
these
this.
little jerks were.
Oh,
This
thank you
poor
for saying that. I
this
wrote
poor
down,
girl,
She goes and does it, right? She
Yeah,
nuts up and does it, and they pound on the bathroom door and scare the living crap out of her, and I wrote down, "Girls are mean."
yes. Oh, but we missed I mean, we went right into Bloody Mary, but
I'm so sorry.
we missed where this episode takes
Oh,
place.
our map quest moment.
Yes.
Toledo,
Uh,
Ohio.
good
Oh
old
my.
Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah, you live there, I've worked there.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah. Cold. I don't think I ever saw the sun in Toledo. Um, Granted, I was always working during
You
the
were
winter,
always working
so
during the winter, yes. It is nice there during the summer. There is a summer season, but a short one.
Toledo, it's funny, if you haven't been, my before I started working there, my image of Toledo, all I knew was from MASH, from the TV show MASH,
Mm.
and the character Klinger because he was from Toledo, Ohio. So all I knew about Toledo was like Paco's hot dogs and the Toledo Mud Hens, which is their local baseball team. So when I got there, I was actually pleasantly surprised by how when you're just outside the city, how like there's rolling fields and it's green and there's trees and there's beautiful houses and it wasn't this city feel.
Yes, if I can look subjectively at Toledo, it is a decent place, but I have bad memories from Toledo, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
often just like, hate it,
Meh.
never want to go
Mm.
there again. Bye. Rear view mirror. Period.
Hey, speaking of rearview mirrors, you brought it up. In this is one and this is just a pet peeve of mine.
Uh-huh.
There's a handful of shots in this episode in the Impala and there's no rear view mirror. And it's that
Oh,
TV
really?
trick of, remove the rear view mirror to give more screen space, like more FaceTime to the people who are quote driving the car
Yeah.
and stuff. And I despise that. It's a car. Put a freaking rear view mirror there and figure out the camera stuff later. Don't remove the rear view mirror.
Wow, I've
That's
never noticed that in any show ever. It's not something that I look for, I guess.
right, just like the shadow of the tree on the house. You're gonna see it now.
Yeah, and thanks for that.
You you're welcome.
Ruining every car shot for me.
Ruiner. Ruiner. That's me.
And Dean sounded about as excited to be in Toledo as I would be.
Where are we? Toledo.
Go Toledo, Ohio.
So before Sam and Dean get there, like we're still like we don't know why they're there. So the girls who are having the slumber party, they summon this girl goes into the bathroom on a dare,
Mhm.
accidentally does summon Bloody Mary.
Yes.
But nothing happens to her. She's like, all right. But as it turns out, Bloody Mary does appear and ends up murdering her father.
Yeah.
Oops. Um, and nobody downstairs, like the father is upstairs in his bathroom when Bloody Mary comes through the
Yes.
mirror,
And he's
and
not really and I don't think he screams or anything. I think it happens kind of
yeah,
fast. He
exactly,
liquefies
because
basically. I mean, with the amount of blood
right.
that was there on
See,
the ground.
that's what I was gonna say because the older sister, the older like teenage sister, comes home and is has to taunt the younger kids,
Mhm.
and then she goes upstairs and notices like something pooling outside the bathroom door. She opens the bathroom door and then screams. I'm like, there was so much blood on the floor before she even opened the
Yeah.
door. It's like, don't you think that would have been
The screaming
the
moment.
screaming moment as
Yeah.
opposed to, dad's dead on the floor with his, with his eyes gone. I was just like, come on, you see how much blood is on the floor.
Yeah.
That would be a problem. The actress who plays the that older sister, um, um, what's her name? Donna? Yeah, she the actress's name is Christy Marsden. I was like, I know that face. I know that face. She was on Psych. She was on a handful of episodes of Psych. I'm
Oh.
sure she's done other things, but that's why I was like, I know that face. I know that face.
Oh.
So
I didn't really recognize anybody from this episode. The dad
really,
who yeah, the dad who died, I was kind of like, yeah, he looks vaguely familiar, and I looked him up and I was like, oh, he's a one-off actor in a lot of shows.
the other one who really stood out though was Charlie. We haven't met Charlie yet, as far as where we're talking, but she's the girl who ends up getting summoned on her.
Mhm.
Like a friend of hers said the name, and now Bloody Mary's been sicked on Charlie. So Charlie's basically running and hiding from Bloody Mary. That actress who plays Charlie was on Charmed. I think she
Oh.
had an entire season on Charmed of like a recurring character.
Oh, I never
Um,
watched Charmed.
the only reason I watched Charmed is because it was on before Supernatural.
All right,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, every
On
time it was
TBS,
on.
yeah.
Yes, yes, exactly, or UPN or whatever
Yeah.
the repetitive channels. So that would be I was like, again, I know her, but I don't know her,
Yeah.
So but yes, big blood pool. I would have been far more alarmed prior to finding my father's body on the floor.
Right. Right.
Sorry. I don't mean to laugh at that, but it's like anytime it's a scary show, I use humor to deflect my fear. So,
Right, so then after the boys get to Toledo,
mhm.
they're very excited about it. They go to the mortician. They go to the morgue, I guess.
Well, it's the hospital.
Is it the hospital?
Yeah, it says on the front of the building hospital, which I thought was
Oh,
so
okay.
weird because there's like 30 steps that you have to walk up
Yeah, it
to
looks
get to
like
the
a
front.
city hall or something like that.
Right? I was like, that poor extra, because there's a woman who's like climbing the front steps of this building as Sam and Dean get out of their car to go in. And I did that look, the body language of the extra must have been like, how many times do I have to walk up these stairs? It was just like, oh, why did I say yes to this part?
Right.
They just, but yeah, the side of the building says hospital, which it looked like a morgue, it looked like a city hall, so maybe it
Yeah.
was just a morgue, and I read into the whole sign that says hospital.
Mm.
Mm.
I didn't even see a sign that says hospital, but it doesn't read hospital to me.
No.
Neither is there a hospital that looks like that in Toledo. So,
You've been to the mall? I've traveled Toledo and I found no hospital that looks like it.
right.
Not much to do there in Toledo, huh?
Yeah.
Drive around,
Oh my god,
look
all
for
the people of
hospitals.
Toledo are gonna be so mad at me for talking such shit. I'm sorry. Okay, anyway, in a surprise move, Sam is the kind of slimy brother in this and bribes I'm gonna call him Mortician just because
It's
that's
fine.
what I viewed him as.
Yep.
He bribes the mortician to go view the corpse. No, Dean had a pretty nice alibi going,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yep.
this guy is,
They're med students.
yeah, med students. It's like, oh, this doctor, your colleague didn't tell you. We're here for studies.
And they can't pronounce the doctor's name because
Yeah,
it's like Fedusky or Fedamanushki or
yeah. It
something,
was
and they
like,
just mangle it.
yes, mortician's not buying it, but he does buy the whatever 100 and change that Sam
Right?
passes him. And he was way too excited about this corpse that was
Sam
on the
was,
table.
or the
No,
mortician
the
was. Oh,
mortician. The look on his face when he was talking about like how
yeah,
his eyes exploded is like,
he was
"Oh, we've never
pretty.
seen anything like this before."
He was definitely gleeful and
Yes, gleeful.
describing other corpses that have had like capillaries burst and the amount
Right.
of blood that drained into his brain, and he was just a little too gleeful about
Yes, there was a spark in his eye that was uncomfortable.
that. Awkward. So there's a funny line coming up after they've researched this corpse.
Yeah.
They've looked at whatever they can look at. They had to bribe the mortician coroner again for like the
Mhm.
report. Was it the police report or was it the death
I
report? I
I
like the
think it was the
autopsy report.
yeah, it was some paperwork. I can't
Okay, so
remember either.
they're out even more money now to this mortician guy. But as they're walking away, Sam's like, "Well, maybe this was just a freak medical, you know, thing." And Dean says, "How many times in Dad's long and varied career has it just been, oh, I'm paraphrasing. Has it actually been a freak medical thing and not some sign of awful supernatural death?" And Sam's like, almost never. Oh, I just love that.
Yeah,
Just how to take the tension out of a grisly, awful death.
right, right.
Oh, almost
Again,
never.
we're seeing, I feel like, more humor being peppered in to these episodes, compared to the
Hmm.
first two where it's mostly serious. And then as the episodes go on, they loosen up a little bit.
Yeah, it's. I think it shows me that they're being more and more accepting of the new roles that they're playing in life. They're not fighting against being hunters, or
Right,
it's they've accepted what their lot in life is right now and each other. They're back again. They're brothers, and so they're falling back into what it was like to be, you know, loving brothers.
right, right. So then the brothers go to the funeral or the wake of this guy, try and find the daughter who found him, and then the little girl mentions Bloody Mary.
Oh, she's like, I said it. I said it.
Yeah, I
It's my
said it.
fault.
They told you it was Bloody Mary. And of course, the older girls, say that's ridiculous.
Big sisters never believe little sisters.
But the
Yeah, and
boys, these grown boys, say, "Oh, maybe what's going on here. A clue, if
a
you will."
clue. Yeah. Yes. Aha. Aha. I do like though. It's the same. Sam is the one who's trying to be talking all sympathetic. He's like, "Tell me what you saw. Tell me what you said." And Dean, even though he's being straightforward in his questioning, he's not being dickish. And I made a note about that.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Did you hear anything? Did you see
Hmm.
anything?" And he was actually being nice to the little sister. He
Yeah.
wasn't just trying to like bully her into getting information, which I
Right.
appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But also still pretty straight to the point.
True. There
Comfort.
was no. It's not like he put his arms around her.
Yeah.
Um, but he also didn't just like roll his eyes and walk away like he's done with other characters. When
Yes.
he doesn't get the answer he wants, he's just like, Sam,
Yeah. Yeah.
you take care of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they go up to the bathroom that is still bloody.
It's like they tried to clean it, but it wasn't quite done well. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's still blood on the floor, but it's not the puddle that there was, but there's still clearly blood on the floor.
Yeah. It was not a very good
Cleanup
cleaning
job.
job. Yeah.
I wonder if they did that just to show us that that was indeed the bathroom where he died, as opposed to
Probably. Yeah.
they just walked into the guest bath, and
Right.
started snooping around.
Right.
And that's when Charlie walks in and starts accusing them of not being friends of the dad, and what are you guys doing here? And
Mm-hmm.
here's I'm gonna fall on that word trope, the trope that her defense is, you guys tell me what's going on and be straight with me, or I'm gonna start screaming. And I hate that trope that a woman's only answer to something is to scream like victim, you know. She can be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna say, get the hell out of this house," you know, or something. It's like,
Mm.
why does it always have to be a girl screams and needs rescuing or, you know? I don't know. It just struck me as I was like, really? Couldn't they have thought of something else? So that was just grr. I get why she said it. I absolutely understand why she. I just wish the writers had thought of maybe a slightly different thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. I did think it was kind of funny that both Sam and Dean were too scared to actually say Bloody
Oh,
Mary
the
in front of
name.
the mirror. Yeah. They,
Yes.
like, thought better of they almost did, and they're like,
Uh,
you
her.
you know
You know.
who?"
They also like anytime the mirrors got open to like Sam Dean was like flipping through the medicine cabinet and he kept opening the mirror in Sam's face. So Sam like kept closing. He's like,
Yes.
"Stop putting the mirror
Yeah,
in my face."
yeah, yeah. So they go to
Library.
the library.
Yep.
Computers are out. Shucks.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's too funny. Oh no, it's not going to be that bad. Oh no, this is going to be really annoying.
Yeah.
Having to research women who were named Mary who died
Right.
in the town. So while they're unfortunately now having to go through the town records, literally when newspapers and books and stuff like that, Charlie, the the friend, is driving home and she's talking to another one of the girls who was at the funeral.
Mhm.
Um, on the phone. And of course, the girl, what was her name? Lily? No,
I
that was
don't
the little.
remember. I did a terrible job making character notes on this.
Oh no, that's okay. No, Lily's the younger daughter. Jill.
Yes.
Jill is the
Yeah.
friend. Blonde girlfriend is what I wrote down. And I didn't like her because she was being a jerk too.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
because uh, Charlie was actually being concerned and talking on the phone about her fears, and Jill was just being a jerk to her. And it's
Yeah.
that same person will all say it, you know.
Mhm.
So Jill's at home and being a jerk on the phone to Charlie, and she goes into her bathroom and says, "Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary," and then does this like fake scream
Mhm.
so that poor Charlie thinks that something's happened to her, and then she's like, "Ha ha, just kidding." And again, girls are mean. Um,
Well, let's not say that. The girls are mean.
okay,
People are
the people are mean. In this particular episode, girls are being mean to each other.
yeah.
I know it's all meant to be joking. I mean, obviously, if you don't believe in it, you don't believe in it, and so it's a joke. You know, I
Yeah, yeah.
totally get it.
No, she
But when
was
you,
being mean. Yes, I'm
yeah,
not
because she
arguing that
knows,
she was being mean.
okay, you're right. I should not generalize. My apologies.
But no, she was totally being a jerk. And it was a poor attempt at a prank. It was
Yeah.
bad timing at a prank, I think.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like,
Know the
especially since,
room.
yeah,
Yes.
yes, read the room, exactly.
At 14 minutes and 36 seconds into this episode, you all right there?
Mhm. But I knocked the microphone away. Sorry, go again.
I can't talk to you anymore. I will not. Stop talking about Mean Girls. Um, so at 14 minutes 36 seconds in, the scariest thing happens. And this watching this, for the first time when I watched it, it was a gasp, clutch the pearls moment for me.
Uh-huh.
And it's when Jill, who's getting ready to either take a shower or go to bed, I
Yeah.
forget, she's randomly walking about her room, and then she goes into the bathroom to start, doing her nighttime stuff. And the image in the mirror doesn't move when she moves.
Yeah.
And and it just stood there for a second while she's still moving about. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
and that was
Yeah.
just it took me by surprise because I was expecting to see like an image of Bloody Mary in the mirror. I was expecting to see this other person, but
Mhm.
instead it's her looking back at her, but it's not her reflection anymore. It's an entity,
Mhm.
and that scared me.
Yeah.
And I
It was
literally wrote down, "Scared the crap out of me."
yeah, it that twist was really clever, I thought.
Hmm.
That it wasn't just I mean, it was scary enough when you're passing by windows and like all these reflective surfaces. You see,
Your
you
mind's
know,
eye, yeah, yeah.
well, you see the shadowy, Bloody Mary like kind of following you through reflective surfaces.
Hmm.
So you expect to see either her reflection turn into Bloody Mary, kind of like a, a glitch, special effects, just like all of a sudden she turns into
She
Bloody
turns into Bloody
Mary.
Mary.
Yeah. Or
Like
Bloody
Bloody Mary
Mary's
takes
behind
over. Yeah.
her. Yeah. But no, just having you as a person.
It harkens back to the original movie Poltergeist.
Mm,
And I don't know if you saw the original Poltergeist.
no, I
When
have
that
not.
movie first came out, it was kind of the first of its kind, like a supernatural movie. And there's a scene where a guy goes into the bathroom of this haunted house. And while he's looking in the mirror, the image in the mirror starts showing him things that aren't really there, and he thinks there's like bugs on his face. So he starts picking at the bugs,
Oh,
and he starts picking, and then he literally ends up like tearing his face off. And then in the at the highest, like, scariest point in the scene, he goes ah, and then he looks up and looks in the mirror, and his face is fine, and he's fine. He hasn't actually torn his face off, but the poltergeist made him think that he was. And so is that same thing. The image in the mirror was not his own. It
right.
was him, but it wasn't moving with him
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that they stole that from Poltergeist. I'm saying I think that's a an homage
Right.
to Poltergeist.
Hmm.
Still scared me.
Yes. It also scared me, especially like right after that. I think it's Sam's phone rings in the show. Like he's like sitting on his bed, like talking with his brother. And this is after like Charlie calls him, to say, "Hey, something weird has happened. You told me to call you when something weird happened."
Hmm.
But Sam's phone rang, and right when Sam's phone rang, my phone like lit up because there was like a notification or something, but it was right next to me. It was like right after the Bloody Mary moment. It was like
Hmm.
ring ring, and my phone it timed
Wow.
perfectly. I was like, "Eep," you know.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that. That's when Sam was dreaming, right?
Yes, yeah, it was
Isn't
right after he was dreaming and
he's dreaming about Jess, right?
on the
Is that when
ceiling. Hmm.
yeah, so he's like reliving and redreaming Jess dying, except it's going in reverse. The flames are all going backwards, and so it ends with her like on the ceiling before she's before she bursts into flames.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
And
it's that dream. It's not every dream is in reverse, but I think
no,
this one was.
but this one was
Yeah.
because she opens her eyes
Yeah.
and she gasps and
Uh-huh.
she says, "Why, Sam?" And that's when he wakes up.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that from the pilot. I don't remember her saying "Why, Sam,"
Yeah.
but it happens so fast. So I this is another dialogue that I loved. So Charlie is confiding in Dean and Sam about what happened. I was talking to her and then she was gone,
Mhm.
um, and Charlie says, "I'm insane, right?" As she's describing all these weird things that are happening, she's like, "I'm insane, right?" And Dean says, "No, you're not insane." And then Charlie says, "God, that makes me feel so much worse."
Yeah.
So, she's like, "Okay, so I'm not crazy. That means this stuff is real.
Yeah.
I do not feel good about
Nope.
this now."
I would
Nope.
not either, Charlie. I would not either. So then they sneak into Jill's room just to find any more clues about what's going
Mhm.
on with Bloody Mary.
Mhm.
And they use like a night vision on their
Night vision camera.
camera.
Yes.
But then they do bust out a blue light. A
Yes.
black light. I'm
A
sorry.
black light. Yep.
Yeah, a black light to then find a bloody handprint on the back of the mirror and someone's name.
Gary.
Is it Gary? I
I
have
think it's
Corey.
Gary. I thought it was Gary, the little boy. Yeah, because I
It
thought they
is.
went.
It doesn't matter. But
Okay, it doesn't matter. There's a name written on
a
the back
name.
of the mirror. But before we go into that, going back to the night vision,
Yeah,
Dean says, "Night vision. Do I look like Paris?"
I
And
know.
so, and I was like, "Oh, there we go. There's the Dean moment
Yeah,
of course, he's watched, Paris Hilton's sex tape,
I
you
know.
know." But it's funny though, because they do bring Paris on the show
They do. Yeah, much later. I totally
later.
forgot about the Paris Hilton incident.
And I'm surprised you don't think about it daily. So, yeah, so they find blood. They think they see something dripping from the mirror. They take the mirror down off the wall. They grab a black light from the car, and they tear the backing off the mirror, and they see a bloody handprint and a name written. It looks like in like blood, and it's this little boy's name, somebody Bryman,
Yeah.
Corey or Gary. But that's what you get when you write with blood. You don't get
Yeah.
a very
No.
clear Not a distinctive writing sample. Charlie doesn't know who that is because they're like, "Do you know who this is?" And Charlie's like, "I have no idea."
Yeah.
So
Like,
they,
she said it like she did know, but then she didn't.
but they, at this point they don't know who that is. So it's another question to add to the mystery of the name on the back of this mirror. Oh, they go back to Donna's house, right?
Yeah.
They go back to Donna's house because they're like, well, if there was, a message on this mirror, maybe there's a message on her
That
mirror.
one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the dad's, in the
Yeah.
dad's bathroom. And they take down the mirror and they find another name. They
Uh-huh.
find another bloody handprint and a name, but this time it's Linda Shoemaker, and that's the wife, right? That's the dad's wife, the girl's mother.
Mom. Mm-hmm.
And the daughter Donna says that their mom died of an accidental sleeping pill overdose.
Yeah.
There was, so what's the big deal? Why are you bringing this up? You guys are just
Mm-hmm.
tormenting us.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for her. I do
Yeah.
feel bad for her because her family is.
Destroyed. Yeah.
But again, the question is now, why is her name on the back
Mm-hmm.
of the mirror?
Yeah.
And my question is still, why did the dad get killed by Bloody Mary when he didn't summon her? That was my question still. Like as this happened, I was like, did like Bloody Mary like make a wrong turn? you know?
Well, maybe it just had to do with the same house,
Oh, yeah.
because Lily, the younger daughter, she summoned her,
Hmm.
but Lily has no secrets to hide,
Right,
which
but at this point,
as we will learn,
that's why
Bloody Mary is going after
people with secrets,
people. Yeah.
with deep, dark
Yes.
past transgressions, we'll just say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so after they discover the handprint and now the mom's name on the back of the mirror, they go back to their hotel and they're doing more research.
Yes.
Um, and I made a note that I want that printer that Dean has because it's a portable printer and it prints out so fast. It print because it's like, don't you remember portable printers? It was like you had to wait line by line by line, even if it was like an inkjet printer, just to print like a picture. Oh, anyway, I just love the, TV
Zoop.
props.
Yeah.
Yes, you can
There it
pull up
is.
a website right away. You can pull up schematics right away. You can print
Yeah.
something right away. The fax machine, zzz, right out.
Yep.
So you don't have to sit there for 20 minutes of airtime waiting for something to print. But yes, I want that printer, is what I said. That's what I got out of that scene.
Okay. Of course, the stage manager would get that out of this.
Office supplies, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then I wrote, this is my next question is, if Mary, oh, because they do find
They make a connection. Yeah.
they find a Mary who died in front of a mirror, but it's not in that town though. This Mary didn't die in front of a mirror in Toledo. It was in Indiana,
Yeah.
right?
Fort Wayne, Indiana, which is a less than 2 hour drive away from Toledo.
Okay, so they hop in the car and head to Toledo. I mean to Fort Wayne. But they do find. Did they track down? Was it like the original detective on her murder case? Is that who that guy
Yes.
was?
Yes. So they find someone named Mary Worthington, who was a girl murdered by a man who cut out her eyes.
Ugh. But he was a
Yeah.
surgeon though, right? Wasn't
Yeah.
he a surgeon?
So
Isn't that what
so
made it creepy? Yeah.
yeah, the detective who, he's like, I'm pretty sure it was this guy that she was seeing, who was, maybe he was an eye surgeon.
I think he was an eye surgeon.
He was an eye doctor. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was abusive to her before he even killed her.
I think
And
so.
she
And
was
so she was going to expose his secret. I think he was also married.
married. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I just want to sidebar shortly ish. Um because this is Supernatural's source of the urban legend of Bloody Mary, or at least this instance of Bloody Mary.
Okay.
So I did want to be like, where does Bloody Mary actually come from?
Okay.
It's kind of not specified. It could be several different places. There's been talk that it was Queen Mary the First, who earned
Oh, an
earned
actual.
yeah,
Oh.
she earned the nickname Bloody Mary because she burned at the stake 280 Protestants.
Oh.
Yeah. Although, well, when you look into her, she's not that bad compared to her Henry VIII and
who murdered all his wives. Yeah.
right, but she gets the bad rap, whatever. Then there's also Queen Elizabeth Bathory, Bathory, Bethany. I can't read my own handwriting. But she was known as the Queen of Blood. She murdered 300 young girls and bathed in their blood, and that's also kind of where
Isn't that like a Dracula?
it's a very vampire origin
Okay.
story as well. And then there's supposedly, although she's not listed on like the official Salem list of accused witches, but she was a witch during the Salem witch trials. She was hanged or burned at the stake. And
Oh.
her name was Mary Worth.
Oh, and that's the name that they've just looked up.
Close. Mary Worthington
Oh,
is
okay.
this one. So I thought that was kind of cute. I was like, oh, you like make your own little origin story
Yeah, exactly.
based on somewhat of an actual origin story. And
Yes,
I
very
liked
clever.
that.
Oh, I like that too. I like that too. It's the same thing with like just kind of scratching at everybody's like childhood memories of not
Mm-hmm.
quite what we remember, but it's still there.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's really cool.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of all of these Bloody Marys, I have kind of a funny story. So I was talking to a friend of ours who's older, um, and is pretty much engrossed in the performing arts. So I was talking to him, and I was just curious because he's older, he's a man. I'm not sure if he's ever been
He
exposed to the
did
Bloody
have
Mary
the
of
right, the girl slumber parties with
right, exactly.
right.
But he does have a teenage daughter, so I said, "Hey, have you ever heard of Bloody Mary?" And he says, "Oh, you mean like South Pacific?"
Oh. No.
It cracked me up because I was like, of all the of all
Of
the
course.
Marys that it could have been,
Yeah,
it
from
was
a
the South
musical.
Pacific character in a musical. Yes,
Oh my gosh. That's hysterical.
it is. It for anyone who's listening who may not know what we're laughing at. South Pacific is a very classical old musical from I don't know when, the days of classical musicals, and it's really cheesy, in my opinion.
Gonna wash that man right out of my hair. Gonna wash that
Yes.
man right out of my hair.
Yes,
That's
got
one of the
it's got
numbers.
yes, that you've probably heard before. But anyway, there is an unfortunately stereotypical character, an islander, a native islander, whom they dub as Bloody Mary. And there's even a song for Bloody Mary. It's like Bloody Mary is a girl I love or something like that. I'm failing my musical theater.
Right? So
Who were gone.
disappointed in you.
It is. It is. I was even in South Pacific. But it was
My
but it was in Toledo.
no.
Which is where this episode is taking place.
Stop it with all the connections.
Crazy.
Oh my gosh, Sammy.
So just I wanted to share that.
That's definitely an alternate take on Bloody Mary.
Exactly. So moving on.
So the detective, the retired detective who's explaining to Sam and Dean what he thinks happened, which is that Mary was murdered, tortured and then murdered by this eye doctor, who I
Yeah.
thought was interesting in the picture that he has of the eye doctor. He was either wearing like dark sunglasses, or in the picture had his eyes like scratched out of the picture, or like he didn't have eyes. Like there was something about the picture, like his eyes were completely darkened. And I was like, "Ooh, did he have his eyes cut out?" But I'm thinking I just maybe read into him wearing dark sunglasses in this picture because
Yeah.
it looked like they had been scratched out. But so Mary's murdered in front of this mirror by the surgeon, who then cuts her eyes out, or cuts her eyes out and kills her, whichever
Right. Yeah.
whichever happened. And she apparently, before she died, was writing his name on the mirror. At least this is what the detective
Someone's
thinks.
name. Yeah.
Yeah, is writing a name on the mirror. But she dies before she can complete the name.
Yep.
So my question is, while that's pretty darn creepy and brave of somebody who's dying to try to write their murderer's name on a mirror, when it comes to the other names that have been written on the backs of the mirrors, that's it's not the same relationship. She was writing down who her murderer was, but on the mirrors that Sam and Dean found, it's people who had been killed
Oh.
who are on the mirror, right? It was the boy
Yeah.
who ended up getting hit by a car, and then it was the mom who died of a drug overdose, which I'm
Yeah.
assuming was a suicide. Did she try? I think she killed herself because of the dad. Isn't that
I don't think they ever really quite
really
nailed
just?
down. I think they speculated maybe he killed her,
Okay,
or
right, right.
they just
Accidentally gave her.
yeah, or they just say it's possible, and they don't really go
Yeah,
too much farther into that particular mystery or
right.
family.
So that was my my lingering question was like she was writing her murderer's name, but the people on the backs of the mirrors, their names were people who had been killed. So
Maybe it's she's just trying to expose a secret because the detective does say specifically, it's like she tried
she
to
to out
expose
him,
his secret, but she never
right,
could.
right.
So her secret was what's Trevor something, whatever his name was, Trevor.
Hmm.
But Jill's secret is the kid's name.
Right, that she hit with a car and
Uh-huh.
drove off. Yeah, hit and
Uh-huh.
run. Got it. It could also be because Mary wrote it on the front side of the mirror. She died in front of the mirror, and she wrote on the front side of the mirror who her murderer was. Uh, on the flip side of the mirror, maybe her name would have been on the back of the mirror.
Oh, maybe.
Just
Hmm.
as a flip, I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
reaching,
yeah.
but that was. But
No, I don't
these are
think
things
that's
that I'm.
reaching.
It's like the show makes me think. I don't just like turn off the TV after I watch it. I'm like, ooh, and I try to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's a show that makes you think. Or it makes me
Yes.
think. It may not make other people, but they take this information
Hmm.
back to Toledo, and in the
Meanwhile,
meantime, oh God, poor Jill.
oh my
Oh
God.
God, poor Jill. No,
Charlie.
it's Charlie.
Charlie,
Charlie,
Charlie.
poor Charlie. Jill's
Charlie.
dead.
Yeah.
Um, her suffering's over.
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
gosh, poor Charlie.
yeah, Charlie is trying to, open up a little bit and try to, say, listen, I know this sounds really crazy, but please believe me, to Donna. And you know what? I don't fault Donna for this because she's going through a really hard time.
Right,
Like
and
her
she
father,
doesn't believe.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just like, are you freaking kidding me? This is
Hmm.
ridiculous. And so Charlie tries to say, it's like, no, I really think it's this Bloody Mary thing. And then Donna said, it's not, and I'm going to show you now. Because they're in the bathroom, of
They're in
course.
the at school, right?
And Donna says it 3 times in front of
Yep.
this mirror. And I have to say, Charlie's, of her trying to stop her friend reminded me of Willy Wonka trying to stop the kids from doing bad things. She's like, no, stop,
No, stop! Don't!
please, don't.
Oh, yeah.
She was not trying very hard to stop her friend from doing this terrifying thing that she herself knows is actually real.
Right. Right. You think she would have like slapped her hand over her mouth or punched her in the face and be like, "I'm sorry, I have to go. Don't say it." Yeah. No, no, don't. Wait.
Yeah.
But Donna does indeed summon Bloody Mary, but not to herself.
Right.
And I'm wondering, did Charlie know? Now they had she figured this out that if anybody were to say that name, that it would be summoning a Bloody Mary to her
Yeah, I
because
don't
she had
know.
a secret.
Right, I don't know.
I think she knew she had a secret already, but I don't know if she made that connection like that. Why would she be so afraid,
Right, because
of Bloody Mary?
it wasn't her fault in the end,
Right, but she believed it.
she did believe it, yeah.
Um, so it's not that she thought that Donna was going to summon Bloody Mary to come and get Donna. It was that Bloody Mary was now going to come and get herself. Was going to get
Yeah,
Charlie.
probably, yeah, she
And
probably did think that.
I have to say that was a pretty amazing scene in the classroom
Yeah,
with Charlie discovering that Bloody Mary is now haunting her,
yeah.
and she freaks out. She smashes like a window,
Everything,
everything, and I bravo
yes.
for
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
I thought that was a great scene. That was a
Mhm.
great scene, and I just love how the class is just like like
Yeah.
stunned, like
Yeah.
what is happening, and I think I it looked like a pretty real representation of somebody freaking out in a classroom would be teacher trying to calm them down but also powerless to stop the hysterics of
Yeah.
her fear. Poor girl. So she calls Sam and Dean.
Yep. Yes. As would I.
Yes, I was like, oh, she luckiest girl that she took that phone number.
I know. So then they
Um,
come to her rescue. They cover everything up that has a reflective surface.
yes. Now, did you notice? Because they're back at their hotel room, at one of their motels, one of their
Yeah, yeah.
motel rooms, and as they're covering up all the reflective surfaces, the TV, the windows, the mirrors, although not the windows, the mirrors,
Hmm.
um, Dean takes down a piece of decoration off the wall. Did you happen to notice what it was?
No.
It was a starburst wall decor. It was a very popular starburst decor was really popular in the 70s, and this particular, sometimes it's a clock in the center, sometimes it's a mirror in
Oh,
the
okay. Yeah, yeah,
center.
yeah.
Um this decoration shows up in every season of
Oh, does it
Supernatural.
really?
Yep. Yep. So that's the first time we see it doesn't mean anything. It's just, you know, a supernatural thing that it doesn't mean
No,
anything to the
is that
show.
just something that you noticed or you looked it up and it was just like, this is an Easter egg?
I
Mm.
noticed it. I'm
Are you
stupid. Yeah, no, I noticed it.
every season?
Every season, not every episode, but it shows up in every season.
No, I'll have to pinpoint it
It's
when they come
yep,
up.
yep. It's usually in one of the motels, um, or in the older houses that they end up going. Like I think there's
Yeah,
one even in Bobby's house. I
right.
think.
Okay, so then they say, don't worry, just don't look into the mirrors. And, she smartly says, I can't do that forever. Oh, but first she tells the story of like why Bloody Mary would be
Oh,
after her. She
after
tells us,
her
yes, she tells a story about her,
boyfriend,
yeah, her tortured boyfriend who threatened to kill himself
if she
if she
left him,
left. And then she
she
did,
left.
and then he did.
Yep, and which means he would have done something down the line had she not left anyway. So,
Right, right. So now we
uh,
know why Bloody Mary's after her.
like, poor Charlie,
Yeah,
poor girl.
this poor kid. Then the
Mm.
boys come up with a plan because they did find out, and we did forget to mention, they find out that the mirror was sold to Toledo. And
Oh,
that,
right, the mirror that Mary Worth was killed in front of.
y-
Worthington was killed in
yes,
front of.
yes, she's killed in
Yes,
front of, was sold to Toledo, which is why
they go
Bloody Mary is now killing
in
people in
Toledo
Toledo.
and not in Indiana.
Yes.
Right.
So they
Right.
hunt down the mirror. They have this plan, sort of a plan. They're not quite sure if it will work.
Right. Well, Sam has decided he can like sacrifice himself
Yes.
to save Charlie because it's not about, getting rid of Bloody Mary, it's about saving Charlie who
Hmm.
needs to be able to live her life, and Sam's like, "I'll do it."
Yeah. And Dean, being a good brother, he's just like, no, you're not going to do that. That's stupid. We'll figure out a way. And besides, I know everything about Jesse. And then Sam says, no, you don't.
Dean says, "You didn't do anything." And Sam says, "Yeah, but I could have warned her." And then
Right.
Dean says, "How you didn't know what was going to happen? How did
Right.
you?"
Right. But I also think Dean is assuming that Sam is talking about just the scary world, the supernatural
That they
world
live
in
in. Yeah.
general. Yeah.
Right. 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 Right.
It's like the monsters actually do live under your bed. The talk that they have
Their truth is out there. Talk.
that Sam has not had with Jessica. So I think Dean assumes, it's like the third time I've done that.
It
Called
is.
him Dan. But Dean assumes that Sam is talking about that,
And not necessarily about
anything else. But
being
then
able to warn her about being killed.
right. And then Sam says, I haven't told you everything. And I'm not
Dun,
gonna,
dun,
because
dun.
then it's still not, it wouldn't be a secret.
That's right. And I need to hold on to that so that I can summon Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is that they would summon her to her mirror,
Right.
and then smash the mirror,
Right.
and then that would be it.
Right.
That would be the short game.
Yeah.
But Sam's
Hopefully.
like,
They're not
yeah,
quite sure if it'll work.
they're
They're
not.
just
Yeah,
like, oh.
well, that's what we got. Let's give
Yeah.
it a try.
Yeah.
Let's give it a try. Did you know? So they go to the estate shop where this mirror has been sold, which of course they break in, and it's just wall to wall mirrors.
Yeah.
And they're like, great. But I listened to this again. I watched the show with my AirPods in, and the ticking of all the clocks in that shop is
Oh,
so loud in your ears, and it's not just like one
interesting.
clock going tick tick tick, it's all these different clocks going tick 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 tick, and then tick a tick tick a tick
Yeah,
tick
yeah.
tick tick. And you can hear like dogs barking off in the distance, and there's a chime that goes off like a, it's not a cuckoo, but it's, a clock that
Yeah.
chimes. And it's really subtle, and I went, ooh, for whom the bell tolls, It was,
Oh,
I just had a moment where if you ever can just sink down into a quiet spot and watch Supernatural with it, with the sound in your head,
yeah.
yeah, it kind of brings things to another level. It even does the things where, like, if a car is driving by, it starts in one ear and goes out the other.
Yeah.
There's still
Ah,
stuff like that in these episodes.
interesting. Yeah, I didn't watch it on with headphones this time. I watched it on the DVD.
Hmm.
So it was on TV because, you know, Mac took
Nobody
out the
has
DVD drive.
DVD player, right?
I mean, I did notice some sound
Hmm.
with just my TV speakers. And that was the music. Yeah, the ambiance music
Hmm.
sounded to me like glass shattering, like little sprinkles of glass on the floor. It was kind of a like ting, 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 that kind of sound. Yeah,
Really?
well, that's what I kind of interpreted it as. I mean, I don't
Okay.
think they were physically in the sound booth sprinkling glass. It was chimes,
Well,
definitely, and
mm,
bells, but
right.
to me, it sounded like glass shards falling down.
Cool. Cool.
And I loved the lighting too. This scene in general was just like, ooh, this is
Uh,
nice.
yeah, yeah. No, I love that it started out with a little bit of humor, like, great, it's a million mirrors,
Yeah.
you know, and and then, like, as I'm watching it, I'm seeing their reflection in mirrors. I'm like, what is that? What is that? So
Uh-huh.
I'm scared myself, and the scary hasn't even started yet,
Right.
But as you know, they're still formulating their plans, right? As they're walking through the store.
Mhm.
I mean, they're looking for her mirror, and but at this point, have they decided to? What did they decide they had to do? Because it wasn't just about breaking her mirror. Didn't they say that they
Well,
were going to do
before
like?
they were just gonna summon her to a mirror,
Oh, okay, and
and
then break it,
then yeah, and then they said, or no, no, no. First, it was just we're gonna find her mirror and break it, and then they decided, you know what, we need to
summon her.
summon her to the mirror and then
Okay,
break it.
and then break it. Okay, so they find her mirror, and Sam has to do his summoning.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, they've set off a silent alarm they didn't know about. So they
Yeah.
hear like the security car pull up out front.
Uh huh.
So Dean goes out front to try to keep the security team out front so that Sam can summon Bloody Mary, or that they don't get arrested for breaking and entering.
Right.
you know? So I have to do a sidebar.
Mhm.
One of the security guards who
Mhm.
doesn't speak. The actor's name is Dan Shea. He was Richard Dean Anderson's stunt double on MacGyver, and was also his stunt double on Stargate SG-1, and actually went on to become like the stunt coordinator for the entire series for Stargate SG-1. When he was on Supernatural, I was like, oh, hey, it's Sergeant Siler, and then he doesn't speak, and then it's like his name isn't in the credits. It's
Oh
I was like,
no, poor guy.
oh, maybe this was before, his claim to fame. But he does get punched out. He takes a pretty good punch by
Yes.
by Dean.
Yes, he does.
So yay, Dan Shea. Little shout out there for my Stargate.
Right, right. So while Dean is out with the Stargate stunt supervisor, uh we learn, and this like adds another layer to these boys' story, that Sam prophesized Jess's death. So he summons Bloody Mary, and then in her way of, his reflection becoming independent of him, he tells himself, but
It's
you
your
knew
fault.
it's your fault
Yeah.
because you knew that this exact thing was going to happen. You saw it, you dreamt it 2 nights before it actually happened.
Yeah.
And you're like,
What?
what?
Yes, damn you, Bloody Mary.
So not only are these boys fighting supernatural things, but something supernatural is happening to him,
Right,
like within him, like
right. That he can see the future.
yes, or at least in this instance he did. He saw.
He had a premonition
Yeah, yeah.
of
Uh-huh.
her death.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. But just because you have a premonition, do you know what that is? Is it deja vu? Is it,
Right.
did he really know what he was seeing when he saw it? But he's completely entranced though. He is completely he transfixed on his image in the mirror, that while it's telling him that it's his fault and he's done these horrible things, his eyes start bleeding
Yes.
in the mirror and in real life. His
Yeah.
eyes start bleeding, and it's that whole poltergeist thing where it
Uh-huh.
makes him,
Uh-huh.
you know, and just in time, Dean runs in and smashes the mirror,
Yes.
and Sam can now breathe, and they think, "Phew, we've done it." So as they're
And
like,
and also Sam chooses that moment to
"Oh,
correct his name.
that's right,"
I was just like,
he's like,
really? That's
"Yeah, Sammy, it's
it's
Sam."
that was that was stupid. I'm just gonna say it. I was like,
One
I
more
get what
time,
they're going for, but
break the tension. Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah,
anyway.
yeah. So as they're collecting themselves, trying to get their breath back and stuff like that, here's a giant shout out to The Ring, the movie The
Total
Ring,
shout out.
that Bloody Mary is now coming out of the broken mirror frame. Like, her
Yeah.
physically, she crawls out, and she crawls out exactly the way the girl did in The
I mean,
Ring.
this
And
this was stolen. This was basically stolen from the ring. Like this was
I
not
was
just
gonna say, I wrote down homage. I
yeah,
didn't want, but because you know what, when it works, it works. So use it.
yeah,
That was freaking scary.
yes. And I will say that in the first commentary that Eric Kripke did, he did mention, and this was towards the end when the kids were bringing the mother down to hell, and there's all
Oh,
those,
effects.
things,
Yeah.
yeah, effects. That he did say he was very, very inspired by this kind of Japanese horror films,
Oh.
which you can see kind of in almost all of them so far, like
Mm-hmm.
the dead kid in the water,
Right.
the Japanese style of scary movie.
Yep.
This
Definitely.
girl, like absolutely. When The Ring
Yes.
was, of course, originally a Japanese
Japanese horror.
movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, long hair in front of her face.
Uh-huh.
She could have been wet. She wasn't, but she just had that feeling of like dingy, dirty, greasy.
Yeah.
Her dress is torn, and she crawls out of the mirror, and she's all kind of like, her body seems broken and
Yes.
disjointed,
Uh-huh.
and she comes after Dean and Sam, and now both Dean and Sam are in the grips of her. It's not a possession, I guess, but in the grips of her power.
Yeah.
Like, Sam's eyes start bleeding again, Dean's eyes start
Uh-huh.
bleeding, and then quick thinking Dean grabs another mirror and puts it up between her and them. And so now
Mhm.
she's looking at herself in the mirror. And so her reflection back to her is
Mhm.
like, "You've killed all those people,"
Yeah.
you know? And being faced with her own transgressions,
Yeah.
it's this weird paradox that these two things can't exist,
Yeah.
and she dies. I mean, she like melts, right? She melts
Yeah.
and
Sh-
then shatters into like
Glass.
glass.
Yeah. That was, they tried so hard with the CGI on that one.
Didn't Yeah, no, her melting was not
It wasn't great.
effective.
It was such a good idea. It's just like her just turning into a puddle of blood, and then the blood, once it hits the ground, just turns into glass shards. I
Hmm.
like that idea. It's unfortunate they probably didn't have the budget, to do it.
Fully. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't fully realized. I
Ye-
agree. It's just like
Yeah.
in Dead in the Water with the boat, the boat that gets blown out of
Right.
the water. It's
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
what
There's
just happened?
only so much network TV can do, and you just kind of
Yes.
have to go with it, accept it for what it is.
Yep.
I thought that
Um,
was a very smart move on Dean's part, because earlier in the episode, they're talking about all these different kinds of mirror lore. They mention like when there's a death in a household, they used to cover up all the mirrors so it wouldn't
oh,
capture the spirit.
right. Right. Right,
So
right. I forgot about that.
I
I forgot about
know.
that. That they, yeah, somebody dies, they cover all the mirrors so that the spirit doesn't get trapped inside a mirror and then trapped
Yeah.
inside the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
think that at first you're kind of like, Dean, what are you doing, Dean? Are you just like trying anything at this point? Which
Anything?
maybe he was, but also it was, maybe oh, I read this thing earlier. Maybe I can
Yeah.
trap this spirit.
Right. Or maybe he was just thinking, you're judging all of us, but you're not judging yourself, and you're killing people.
Yeah, maybe.
And then he smashes that mirror,
Yep.
which is awesome. Done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what was okay? Another funny line that I liked was a Dean, as they're like looking back. They're like, Had like 600 years bad
Yeah.
luck after breaking all those mirrors.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, I was like, little did they know
Right. I
how much
know.
bad luck. Oh my gosh. So there was. I didn't mention this in the beginning because usually at the start of these episodes I say, water is scary or
Yeah.
flying is scary,
Uh-huh.
mirrors are scary, and you
Right.
mentioned that. There's a movie that I watched in high school, and it was called The Prince of Darkness, and it was just a bad B scary movie that you had nothing else to do on a Friday night, so you
Right.
went and saw a scary movie. And it basically, the premise is that on the other side of mirrors is the other dimension, is the Satan
Mm.
hell dimension on the other side of
Mm.
mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
And there's an evil force that is working to bring Satan into our dimension. And so through this entire movie, scary things are happening, but it's all about building this climax where Satan would be allowed to be pulled through into our
I
dimension.
see.
And it all takes place through mirrors.
Mm.
So at the very end of the movie, like there's somebody who's like reaching into a mirror and then pulling Satan through, which for all the scariness of this movie, to see a cloven hoof start, coming through a mirror, you're like,
Yeah.
it was like, it got you like so scared all the way up to this one point. And you're just like, no, why did they
Aw.
go with the cloven hoof? Um, but at the end of that movie, my friends and I were so scared that the drive home, we like mirrors, like the rear view mirror of the car was pointing up, the side mirrors of the car were pointing out. I just drove facing forward. I didn't use my mirrors at all. And for weeks, I was like, no mirrors, no mirrors, because we kept thinking, because there was a line as they're pulling that hoof through, there's a person going, Father, and reaching for, Satan. And so
Yeah.
anytime we looked in mirrors, we'd go, Father.
There have been some, I can't name like a specific movie or a TV show or anything like that, but there's been storylines of you can get trapped in the other side of the mirror. Oh, in fact, I can't think of an example. I think it's called Dark Mirror. It's a Jim Henson movie. This when he was kind of the company was experimenting with not just puppets but with other things. It's really really cool movie, but
Dark Crystal?
nope.
No?
It's not
Dark
Dark
Mirror?
Crystal. It might not be Dark Mirror, but I'll have to look it up. I think it's Mirror Mask.
Oh.
Yes, Mirror Mask. So in this movie Mirror Mask, she gets her other person, like her reflection is basically another person like living in another world. And so
Mhm.
somehow she gets like a spell. I think her mirror person does like a spell and they switch lives. So she's trapped into this mirror world,
Oh
which is
no.
really kind of crazy cool. But she's also like, I'm not really a fan of this.
Not
And
my world.
her mirror person is just like, nope, I'm good over here. Thanks.
Oh no.
You know, like, and she can see like through the back of the mirror, like everything.
That's now
Her,
happening in her world
yeah,
without
her
her.
mirror. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
Oh.
that does frighten me. You know, even if it's not just mirrors, there are other things of that nature. Like you get swapped inside of something that's don't have any control of.
Uh-huh.
It is,
Oh,
it
that's
is
scary.
creepy. Hmm.
That's
So you're right. Mirrors are scary.
Thank you. Feel free to edit anything I just said as long as we get to mirrors are scary. So then so Bloody Mary taken care of.
Hmm.
Charlie's been saved. She no longer has to avoid seeing reflections. And
Hmm.
Sam and Dean are driving out of town. Job well done.
Hmm.
Um, but Sam sees Jess.
Yeah.
He's not dreaming. His eyes are wide open, and he sees Jess standing on a street corner,
Yep.
alive and looking right at him.
Hmm.
And then she's gone.
Yeah.
She's gone, and I wrote down WTF.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure what that apparition was supposed to be.
Yeah, like, is it a ghost? Is she there?
Right.
Is it him?
Is it
I
part
mean,
of his new supernatural ability that we've just learned
yeah,
about? Is he seeing her other places that we
we
don't
don't
know?
know. Yeah, so I just literally was like, WTF.
Yeah.
That's one of those. Don't make me hit play and watch the next one again,
Right.
so I can
Yeah,
find
yeah,
out what's
yeah.
going on.
And
But
honestly, I can't even remember why he's seeing these visions of her, you know? So this is legitimately me asking myself, it's like, wait, what is this vision supposed to be?
this is why it's fun going back and watching this all from
It
the
is,
beginning,
yeah.
because it's like it's cementing pieces that I mean, 15 years ago, you forgot about.
No kidding. Okay, so Valerie, do you
Yes,
have
Sam.
a recap of the recap tweet to share?
I I do.
Okay,
I do. And I did make it in under the allotted characters.
wonderful.
All right. A girl playing Bloody Mary accidentally gets her father murdered and his eyes torn out by the summoned ghost. Investigating that death, Sam and Dean get stalked by Bloody Mary for perceived past transgressions. A lot of mirrors get smashed. Sam keeps a secret from Dean.
Ooh, nice. Mine is unfortunate setting of Toledo, Ohio. Bloody Mary times 3 is summoned and liquefies those with a deep dark secret. Poor Charlie is tortured by both her friends and Bloody Mary. Sam and Dean to the rescue with a sacrificial summoning by Sam's secret. All that alliteration? Not the ring girl melts by self-reflection.
Yours is pretty sarcastic. I thought
Yes,
mine was pretty blunt.
yours is blunt, mine's sarcastic. It's the best of both worlds.
Oh my gosh. Blunt and sarcastic, two superheroes that never made it onto the page.
No. Okay, so that's gonna wrap it up for Bloody Mary. Thank God, because Bloody Mary legitimately scares me.
Yeah, this was definitely a not just like, wow, that was scary. Like, it's scary because it was scary to us as kids, and it was
Exactly.
still scary this time around.
Yep. Yep.
So, and they did a great job on keeping her scary. There was
Yeah.
nothing comical about her appearance, about, just until the very, very end. Her melting was, which is fine. It
Yeah.
kept us riveted all the way through. I would not want to see that image in my mirror
Nope.
ever.
Nope. Not her nor myself doing not the things that I'm doing in the mirror.
Right? Or, watching your eyes bleed in the
Yeah,
mirror,
yeah, yeah, don't want that
or
either.
yes, yes, or be accused by yourself, in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yes. None of that stuff.
Right.
Again, that first time the girl's reflection doesn't move when she does, I was like,
Hmm. All right, so thank you all for tuning in. And we will see you next week for episode 6, Skin.
skin.
Yep, that's the name of the episode. Just Skin.
Wow. They're digging deep.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Bye.